Hello and welcome. Today we've got Ian Clark, and today we are going to be discussing how cancer is the second biggest killer, and Big Pharma know it, and they are profiting from your illnesses and from you. Now, just before we begin, you can subscribe to my Instagram channel at nicholas.veniamin, where you can follow all my daily newsreels. Ian, thank you so much for joining me. How are you, and what have you been up to?
Well, I'm doing fantastic and feeling really great. Every day that goes forward, I feel better and better. And that's the whole goal of all of us. You know, everyone listening wants to get healthier every day into the future and not have any concerns about health.
Absolutely. Now, as we're moving forward and into the future, I can see a lot of people awakening. Some people call it DNA upgrades and, or the Christ consciousness, or there's just an awakening, an awareness that's growing. And people are starting to be more open-minded about how corrupt our governments are and how Big Pharma profits from our illnesses. And now they are looking for alternative information, alternative, you know, um, options to approach their healths. And this is what we want to go into. They can see that the cancer is now the biggest killer in the world. So what do you have to say about that?
Well, yeah, there's all different types of cancer that they talk about. And we have zero interest in curing cancer. We're not interested in that at all. Once a person is diagnosed with cancer, they themselves personally need to find whatever means they have to deal with that. So what we're interested in is catching it well before anybody gets diagnosed with cancer.
So why?
And there are ways of.
So sorry to interrupt.
There's ways of preventing it.
Sure, I'm so sorry. The viewers, and I want to cover you here, but the viewers are thinking, why aren't you interested in curing it? And I know there's an FDA issue around that, and I want to be very clear. We don't want to make claims, but what is the reason exactly that you're not interested in curing, but more preventing cancer?
Well, because there is actually no cure for cancer per se. The idea of curing something that is killing you, cancer is not interested in being cured. Cancer has to be killed. And so there's different ways of doing that, but that's not the topic today. The most important thing, and most of the people in your audience and most people I know are into just getting healthier and healthier and healthier. So when you have a healthy body, it just doesn't, you basically are in a situation where you may have cancer cells in your body. They say everyone has cancer cells in their body. Well, I don't necessarily believe that, but let's just pretend that that was true. So therefore, you want to have stage 0 cancer. That means that there is no eruption of anything infecting your body. And I had a tumor in the perineum part of my body between my legs, which grew for 3 years. And it was very, very, what I consider dangerous. I would never allow it to be diagnosed as cancer. I am not a cancer survivor. It took 7 years for my body to dissolve it out. But with the knowledge I have now, if I could go back to myself, back to 20 years old, for example, I would tell myself some very simple things that would prevent that from ever happening. And that's what we're talking about now, because if you're preventing something, you never have to deal with it. And there are different alternative ways, very expensive ways. People can go to Europe and find people who deal with, when they're in stage 3 or stage 4 cancer. Our business does not deal with that. I am not a doctor. I don't make any claims around any cancer cure at all. There are places people have to go to find out, and they need money to do that. It's not an inexpensive thing. If they don't choose the medical route, they have to find an alternative route. And you have to be very, very sophisticated to be able to know exactly what they're dealing with. And there are clinics, like I said, in Europe. There's all kinds of places people just go online. So that's not the industry we're in. And, 98% of the people in the world are mind controlled to start with. You and I are in the 2 percentile. So that means there's 160 million people out of 8 billion that are looking for ways of keeping their body healthy so they never, ever have to deal with those issues. And it's a very serious matter. Cancer is the number 2 killer in the world. Heart disease is the worst, is number 1. And there are ways of preventing that also, but that's not the topic today.
Okay.
The topic today is really, what do you need to know to make sure that you prevent yourself from ever having any diagnosis at all of that type of problem?
Absolutely. Now, I want to go back a little bit just to clarify what you said. Now, do you believe that we have even healthy people who have stage 0 cancer? Do you believe that they still have cancer cells that are dormant in their body?
Well, we are told by scientists that everyone on Earth has cancer cells rolling through their body. And if they have a strong immune system, then that keeps it suppressed. Now, I don't want to buy into the idea that everyone has cancer cells. That's a propaganda piece, to make you think. If you say, "Oh, I have cancer cells in my body," you're telling your body something that's extremely negative. I tell my body that I have no cancer cells whatsoever, and I believe that that is true, that I don't have any at all. So if people, it's up to you to decide what you are going to tell your body. And if you want to tell your body that, that everyone has cancer cells, then that's fine. You can tell yourself that. But you still want to have stage 0 cancer.
Yes.
That means your immune system is so strong, it can fight everything off, whatever may come your way. It doesn't matter what it is, whether it is what they call viruses or bacterial explosions or fungal infections or whatever it might be. When your immune system is superpower, and we know how to get the immune system extremely powerful, then you're in a good condition and you feel much better too. Your body has tons of energy and you're able to be high functioning in every way. You don't have weird things going on that you wonder what it is. And so our goal is to make sure that you are able to have the knowledge and the tools to use to keep your body getting healthier every single day. And I'm not just talking about, one part of your body. You have 12 different operating systems in your body, and the chain is only as strong as the weakest link. Mm-hmm. So you don't want any weak links in your system at all. And that also involves spiritual, mental, and emotional.
Yes.
There's all kinds of diseases in those areas as well. So having good, clear thinking, having our energy good when it comes to how we feel. That means your emotions, which is energy and motion, drives good feelings, drives good thoughts, drives excellent behavior, and brings results for your standing in a super healthy body. Like I turned 66 in June, and I'm healthier than I've ever been in my entire life. I feel much better than I did even when I was 21 years old. I have more energy, I have better brain power, my digestive system is perfect, and everything is running extremely well. So that's the goal for everyone in the audience, to get access to these tools and these pieces of information.
And just before we get into these wonderful tools, and you say that the topic today is for preventing cancer, and I assume that that's for people that have stage 0 cancer, and they could, approach their health in a way where they will prevent it from ever getting it. Now, what do you say to those people right now watching who may have stage 2 or stage 3 cancer? Is there an approach for them to take where they could eliminate or reduce what they have?
Well, that's up to them how much they want to exercise the various things that they can do. Stage 1 and stage 2 are usually never detected because there's no visible or physical feeling symptoms. At stage 3, symptoms will start to show up and people ignore them. They think it's something else. They often get misdiagnosed. At stage 4 is when most people find out they have cancer. And then that's called terminal. So in the medical world, it's going to involve surgery, chemotherapy, radiation. That's the only thing that's offered in that realm. And they always say, "Oh, you've got something rare." I haven't heard too many people who have not been told they have a rare form of cancer. So in that realm, that is a whole different world. Like I said, they need to go somewheres where they have got a budget to work with and they are going to go to a very specific place that's going to go right through their body and check everything and work on it from an alternative standpoint. There's a clinic in Switzerland, for example, Paracelsus, and they can go to a place like that. Or there's different institutions. There's also integrative medicine, where they combine medical with as much alternative as possible. It's all very expensive places to go. So our goal is to see people never have to spend a dime on having cancer, so that they just don't have it at all. And they're as close to stage 0 as possible at all times. And if it never goes beyond stage 1 or 2, it won't harm you, but you just don't want to have any. So the goal is just to make sure your body's healthy. A healthy body never has to worry about having cancer or heart disease or any of these things.
Let's talk about the science around what involves in preventing any stage of cancer. For somebody like myself who's really healthy, who's interested in investing in their health, because doing that, I know I could extend my life 20, 30, maybe 50%. And if I eat the right foods, if I have the correct approach towards my health, what are the tools and how does that work in your body scientifically?
Okay, so the science behind it is your immune system is affected by many different things. Now, your immune system lives within your blood. People say your immune system is in your gut. Well, that's total misinformation. How could your immune system be in your gut? Your gut does not go to every cell in your body. Your gut is what's digesting food. And people can get candida, they can get, heavy metal poisoning, they could have leaky gut. There's all kinds of different things which can affect the immune system. But your blood system, which you have 5 to 5.5 liters of blood, depending on how big your body is, your blood pumps every single drop of that 5 liters every 60 seconds of every day. You pump 7,600 liters of blood a day. That blood goes to every cell in your body. And when you have very clean blood with all the antibodies in it, with the army inside of it that goes and removes anything and everything that would be interrupting to your body's function at a cellular level, that's where you have a really powerful immune system. There's another system that people don't think about. It's the mucosa system. The mucosa system is where mucus lives. Now, any place where you have any fluid movement, whether it's in your lymph system, your digestive, your circulatory, and any mucous membranes like eyes, ears, nose, throat, reproductive organs, elimination parts of your body, all those areas have mucus in them. Your body produces 1.5 liters of mucus per day. So it's producing it all the time, and it goes out in your waste material, in bowel movements, in urine, and it can go out in the sweat as well. But your mucosal system is extremely important to keep it clean and fluid. What happens is a lot of people's mucus gets very contaminated and very thick. And when it gets thick, it doesn't work properly. So we found out there's a very special extract from a geranium plant called Pelargonium pseudoides. And that's an extract from the root of this geranium plant. It grows in South Africa, and they take the plant out, they chop pieces of the root off, and they replant it, and it continues to grow. So this is a perpetual type of medicine that the body can use. They do the extract from it, and we put it into a liquid, and it's called Perfect Immune. What it does, it keeps all of the mucus all the way through your body, plus the 1.5 liters you produce every day, nice and clear and fluid. That way it's always moving and it's always getting things out of the way that the blood system is going and attacking and eliminating. So you don't get plugged up. Mm-hmm. You just think about when you get a head cold or the flu or a sore throat or bronchitis or lung infections, how much mucus comes out of your body. It's amazing. And you'll produce even more mucus when your body is having an inflammatory response based upon too much bacteria or whatever it is that you've gotten sick from. So when you keep your mucus clear every day, this is a product you use every single day of your life because it allows your mucus to flow beautifully. And this is the perfect form of it. It's got tons of science behind it. It was discovered actually back in the early 1900s and was suppressed heavily by the government at that time because they don't want people to find out what these preventive things are. For whatever reason, whatever motives they have, I don't care what their motives are. But when anyone who found out about it and used it never got sick. So the idea is to never get your body in a situation where you have to take measures. You don't ever want to have infections. So that's called Perfect Immune. It is the number one product on earth that supports your immune system through your mucosal layers to support your blood. And there's another interesting science, and this was done at UCLA. A study was done into the vitamin D3. Well, D3 is actually a hormone, and your body produces D3 when you're exposed to sunlight. But people don't get enough sunlight. And they're, the different months, especially up here in Canada or different parts of Europe, where they don't get a lot of sun during the winter, then they're compromised on their amount of D that they have produced. Therefore, you have to supplement it. And there's another vitamin which is very important to go with D3, which is K2, and its specific form is K2MK7. And what it does, it makes the D3 work better because D3 releases the calcium you need out of the food, and the K2MK7 delivers the calcium into your body to strengthen you. Now, people can look it up. We don't have time to go over all the multiple benefits of D3 and K2, but the one discovery at UCLA is that D3 creates a very strong barrier between the cells of your body to not allow these microbes and these bacteria to get in. So then it stays in that fluid and is able to be expelled. So these microbes, and you're breathing 11,000 liters a day of air. In that air are all kinds of contaminants. And you and I have talked about it a lot. People can do their own research. There's 10 billion pounds of tire dust released into the atmosphere every year, just in the United States alone. And there's brake dust and cremated bodies that are emitting all their garbage into the air that we're breathing, which is totally gross. But at any rate, all these things can start to plug up your mucosal layer. So the mucus is always, think about 1.5 liters of mucus. That's a lot. And people look it up scientifically. This has all been measured. So you want to make sure that is staying clear and that the space between the cells is kept nice and tight in your interstitial fluid. And that's what the D3 is really strong for. So it supports your immune system. It gives you armor. You need to be fully armed with good armor all over every cell of your body. So when every cell is armed, and then you have a super strong blood system, and I've talked before about drinking the unrefined sea salt melted in water. This is another major antibacterial, but it also gives your body the ability to produce more volumes of blood when you drink it. It's the raw material that your bone marrow uses to produce more blood. And with these combination of things, you're able to have a really powerful body, and you feel great. You got huge energy, and that allows you to get more done in your life, which is the goal.
Absolutely. Very interesting. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the direction of use of these tools?
Well, it's the simplest thing you can do. Every day you take a dropper of the Perfect Immune. You can either squirt it straight in your mouth. It actually doesn't taste too bad. I don't mind it. Or you just put it in water and drink it. The Perfect K2D3 has no taste at all. You just squirt one dropper into your mouth every single day. And that makes sure that you're supplying the raw material to your body to be able to be totally functional. Now, that's how simple it is. It's just once per day. And you don't need to worry about whether you have food in your stomach or not. It doesn't require any kind of empty stomach. You can just put it in whenever you like. Just pick a time in the day where you do that kind of stuff, and set a little alarm and make sure you take that every day. That is a definite must-have to keep your immune system strong. And you'll notice within a month how much better you feel. And within 90 days, you've fully armed your entire body.
Well, excellent. Well, Ian Clark, thank you very much for sharing everything with us today. This is the purpose of alternative news: is to give you alternative news, is to give you alternative, approaches to your health investment, which big pharma's not going to do. So I'll be leaving the links below for K2D3 and Perfect Immune. They're right below with the code Nick20, I believe. But Ian, is there anything else that you'd like to say to the viewers before we finish?
The one thing that I didn't qualify on the Perfect K2D3 is that it's a very special form. There's all kinds of K2D3s in the market, but most of them either have little effect or they only have a 3-hour half-life. So ours has a 72-hour half-life. That means that for 72 hours, it takes 72 hours to go to 50% effective. So when you take it every day, you've got full effect of the K2D3 in your system. And the Perfect Immune, it just goes in and does its work immediately with the mucus for 24 hours. And so I just encourage people to take full advantage of the information, to take responsibility for their own health so they don't rely on anybody else. Don't give your responsibility to anyone but you. You're the one that gets rewarded or pays the price if you don't take the action.
Absolutely. And I'm taking it myself. I love it. And I'm going to keep on because it's a great investment to my health. But Ian, thank you very much. And we'll speak again very soon. You take care. Bye-bye.
Take care.